that we would be within the 40-mile-per-hour federal requirement if we got all the HOV cheaters off the road. Somehow the tolls are supposed to be the solution to that. But it seems to me that cheaters could just flip the switches on their easy passes to HOV 3+ and keep on cheating. I encourage the board to require the state's project team to provide a credible traffic analysis with the assumptions clearly documented.
Just wrap up, please, Mr. Duncan.
Okay. I would just encourage you to reject or delay this project until the concerns of the majority of the citizens of Northern Virginia have been addressed, which should include part of that should be minimizing the impact of the people who live in this corridor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Debbie Sheets and then Julie Herka. Good evening.
Hi. So first thing is to the communication thing that has been mentioned here. I didn't know to come with prepared comments, so mine are not going to be as good as everybody else's out there. But a couple of comments that I want to make. One is for all the people here who are talking about how they do not see how this solution could in any way reach 40 miles an hour on the highway on a consistent basis unless your tolls are going to be through the roof, which means only those that have money are going to be on the roads, so everybody else can deal with the side streets. I don't see how the congestion on the overflow that the VDOT studies and all those consultants that are there, oh yeah, it'll be nothing, we've done our studies. I don't believe it. Nobody else who lives in these areas believe it. I moved from outside the Beltway to inside the Beltway, which is the opposite that everybody does, a couple of years ago. The part of 66 that I go on, opposite commute, has nothing in terms of traffic. I avoid it during the rush hour period that exists today, excuse me, and otherwise I go against commute. There's no traffic on it. It takes me 20 minutes to get out to Fair Oaks Mall. You guys want to charge me a toll in order to do that going forward, which is going to double my commute because then I'll go around it. I won't pay. Recently I went out to Reston on the toll road that's been there for a while. Do you know it costs like $5 or $6 now on tolls to get out there? I was going for dinner. I'm not going to go for dinner there anymore. I'll take Route 7. Don't think that there's no implication to the business and all the business people think this is great. Those of us that live here, we're not going to be using it. We're not. You just can't afford those kind of tolls. There has been nothing that is talked about protecting the greats. We look at 95 and how expensive some of those trans-urban tolls have been. We look at the abuse that they've done with fines. There's been no conversation that says, here's the fines, here's the tolls, and we're going to hold them for 5 years. We're not going to go. There'll be a maximum at X over the next 10 years. Nothing. Conversation of the 66 corridor and the tolls, and by the way, the gantry has been on the table with a schedule before I even heard that this was anything out there. So to the comment that we really haven't been included, absolutely. You guys have had plans, or somebody has, and you've been going with it. There's been nothing that talks about protecting us. So VDOT is supposed to control this. For how long? You guys have, I'm really sorry, you've done a horrible job with the trans-urban contract. People have been so abused, they're out there having to get their own lawyers to fight ridiculous, usurious fines. Nothing has happened to help them. What are you going to do with us? VDOT, you're going to have it for a while, it's going to be better, but for how long? When is somebody going to come along and say, let's make some quick money, let's go sell it? For the most part, everything that we have here is a total money grab, I'm sorry. When we look at it from our perspective, that's what's going on right now. It's a tax on those of us that are actually living here, because we're going to be on it more often doing the short little jumps here and there. That'll add up over a short period of time. It's a tax. Your rush hour, and it's going to be over. The one thing
just wrap up, please, ma'am.
I'm going to rush out. The one other thing I want to put out there, and the thing that I think is the most horrible, although some of these people are liking it, is the rush hour going from 2.5 hours to 4 hours. Absolutely ridiculous.
Okay, you need to wrap up. Thank you, ma'am. Christine Hoke. I'm sorry, Julie, you're up.
That's
and then
okay.
Christine Hoke is on deck. Thank you.
Okay, it clearly doesn't matter how many people stand up in these meetings and ask for metro extensions and fixes and understand that transit is the solution to take cars off the road. Not only is the state forcing toll roads as our region's transportation solution, but Northern Virginia outside the Beltway doesn't even reap revenue benefits to support better transit and future needs. The hot lanes on 495 have not eased congestion for the public, but have created new bottlenecks. The public, not privileged lanes are jammed. This is a Saturday morning on 95. To get cars off the road, more transit, more metro. Vision is needed, not politics and greed. On I-66 outside the Beltway, when the 25-mile toll road is complete, the public will lose a lane in non-rush hour. Thanks to the hot lanes, I-66 outside the Beltway will be jammed and cars will spill over into the side streets during the day and on weekends. On I-66 inside the Beltway, the tolls are rush hour only and money collected will be reinvested in the corridor. Outside the Beltway, as on 95 and 495, and soon north on 95, the toll lanes are 24/7 and revenue is not reinvested in the corridor, but it leaves the country. The toll road scheme will not take cars off the road. It will create congestion and financial problems for Northern Virginia and Virginia for the next 75 years. Research, including your own, indicates quite clearly that the state building and running a toll project is much more cost effective than privatization, and that's even before they go bankrupt. The White House in its 2015 budget predicts that 4 in 10 American transport P3s will go belly up eventually. Who pays off the huge loans that Uncle Sam gave these private partners, and who pays the private activity bonds for the $6 billion in P3s issued by the McDonnell administration in 2012 alone? Private activity bonds and TIFIA loans from Uncle Sam are where the real private dollars reside in P3 contracts. I don't think we can fully understand the unintended consequences of allowing a foreign entity to compile data through their transponders of the transportation habits of citizens, VIPs, and government officials in the nation's capital. And I don't think we can fully understand that probably $10 billion will be wasted on a toll road network instead of fixing Metro and extending Metro and building another bridge and another Roslyn Tunnel. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Christine Hoke and then Tom Schwab. Good afternoon.
Hi, my name is Christine Hoke, and thank you for pronouncing my last name correctly. I live in Prince William County in Gainesville, Virginia. I've been a resident for 20 years. I have seen a lot of change on the I-66 corridor. Currently, my husband, who leaves them in the morning at 7:15 a.m., gets back at 7:45 p.m. It's a very long day. When you take away another lane, and my husband, I should say, he takes the bus. He takes the bus. But you take away another lane, yes, how long is that commute going to be? How much more can we take? We paid our taxes to fund I-66 20 years ago. Why should we have to pay a toll, an outrageous toll, in addition to that when we've already paid for that road? And there is no, in terms of getting from Prince William County to Maryland, other than taking the Dulles Toll Road, it's going to be there is no other alternate. You have to go over that bridge. So from my standpoint, what would help is to build another accessibility to get to Maryland and bring out Metro to Prince William County. We have paid way too much and lost time from being with our families, and now you're asking us to pay more. It's, from my perspective, it's not proper planning. Thank you.
Thank you. Tom Schwab and then Marty Noe.
Good evening. My name's Tom Schwab.
Tom.
And just I have a question for you. And what are we going to do when we spend $2 to $3 billion and we find out that this doesn't work? That this could actually make our transportation worse. And my greatest fear is losing that lane. We have 4 general purpose lanes and we're going down to 3, and we're going to pay $3 billion for that privilege, and plus other people are going to be paying $17 a day in tolls. I mean, right now, I tell you, when I'm doing the commuting here on I-66 in the evening, with the new managed lanes you got now with the lights and everything, when it's 4 lanes, I can get home. When those lanes go to 3, I can't get home. This is a parking lot on 66, and what I do is I get off and I take the back roads home. And now we're gonna take away that fourth lane and make it 3, and you expect people to pay the tolls? It's gonna be worse here. I mean, people can't afford these tolls. What are they gonna do? They're gonna sit in traffic. We have no other mass transportation options here. I mean, our Metro's in trouble. I've asked my office to move me out because I can't, two times this summer, I couldn't get to my office because the Metro broke down. And I can't tell you the delays that my wife goes through. Every other day, the red line's breaking down. I mean, it's a nightmare. But in summary, I mean, really think about when we spend this kind of money, we could be in a worse situation than we are right now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Noe, and then I'm probably not going to get this exactly right, Janine Jardinier. Mr. Noe.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. So I'm Marty Noe, the chairman of the Northern Virginia Transportation Authority. And I was coming to give a brief update to the members of the CTB about the conversations that the authorities had about the 66 outside the Beltway project and what role the authority may play in that. We'll be discussing this in greater detail with the Deputy Secretary on our meeting on Thursday evening. But I'll share with you that last week we published a list of 24 projects that we'll be considering for funding in our FY17 program over the next several months, presumably culminating in an adoption of a project list probably in June of next year. One of the projects on that project list is a upgrade to the interchange of US 28 and Interstate 66. This is a project that has been on our plans as a congestion relieving improvement for a generation or more. It's not something that's directly related to I-66, but as each of you understands, it is probably the single greatest source of congestion of any interchange in the entire Northern Virginia region. We view this as a project that needs to be done regardless of whether the toll lane project moves forward, but that if the toll lanes move forward, needs to be done in conjunction with the Commonwealth Transportation Board. The analysis we'll be doing will be in the context of how much congestion this interchange relieves with and without the toll lane project. The key thing that I think is important to share is two things with you. The first is that we're not in a position to make any commitment to the CTB on this project at this time. But we are considering it, and we have every reason to believe it will score very well because of the very high level of congestion that this corridor receives every single day, both in the morning and the evening. The other is that for us to consider this project, it's a massive project. It's considered probably about $370 million in the context of the toll lanes, probably about $300 million without the toll lanes. It will require that we go to the bond market. Now, you may recall that about a year and a half ago, the NVTA did receive a AA plus bond rating from all three major bond rating agencies. So we have confidence that we'll be able to float these funds if we determine that this project is one that's a high priority to us. And that's something that, again, will be in constant conversation with the authority about, with the CTB about in the coming weeks and months. Again, once again, Deputy Secretary Donahue will be with us on Thursday evening. He'll be able to answer our questions and we'll be able to answer his. And what I would just put out to you this evening, recognizing that you're pressed for time and that we all obviously want to hear more from the citizens on this, is that if there are questions or concerns that this board has for the authority or things that we can help you understand better, please encourage Deputy Secretary Donahue to ask us those questions so that we can have that dialogue on Thursday night. Regardless of what happens with this project, the NVTA needs to be part of the conversation, and we look forward to really using this interchange as an opportunity to really solidify the partnership that exists between the state and the region in ensuring that our citizens are able to get home from work and use these funds in the manner in which they were intended.
Thank you, sir. Janine Sardider, and I apologize, ma'am, and then Anthony J. Milner is next.
Janine Zarnecki. I live in Northern
Nice,
Virginia.
ma'am.
I have lived here nearly 30 years, believe it or not, in all the various jurisdictions that are represented here. I currently live in Loudoun County, and my primary mode of transportation, it's actually multimodal. I use the Metro, bus to Metro, or I take a Loudoun County bus. It's fantastic. I do appreciate the Metro improvements, or I occasionally carpool, and I'm against the tolling of 66. And the number one reason why I'm against, and I think you should oppose the tolling of 66, I don't think it's broke, so I don't think we need to fix it. Weekdays, I ride 66 eastbound inside the Beltway between 6:30 and 8:30 a.m., and it runs rather smoothly and quickly. I also do it legally during the HOV times. So I find that the reverse commute is always getting backed up, and it's a real problem. And occasionally I do take the bus all the way home and come back into the city, and it's where I see where the problems are in 66. The reason, number two, why I'm against tolls on 66, I think it's a waste of money. Why pay tolls